welcome to Viewpoints, brought to you by Equiture, the leading provider of public safety software and training. My name is Sherry Bartram. I'll be your host today. A little bit about us before we get started. We are an international leader in public safety training and technology, with products geared toward providing tools to help responders stay safe and educated. For those of you who are new to our podcast, we offer monthly podcasts with a variety of guests geared toward public safety topics, as well as monthly webinars and a diverse offering of training courses. Today on our show, we have with us Traci Brown. Traci is currently ranked number 3 in body language expert in the world by the Global Gurus organization. She is an expert at interpreting body language and spotting deception. She has studied her trade alongside police, FBI, Army Green Berets, as well as others. And she has traveled the world interpreting body language. She's interviewed about 5 to 7 times per week for TV, print, or various media regarding world events. A fun fact, she got a deal with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tanks at the ABC TV show. We'll talk to her a little bit more about that. She is a former member of the U.S. National Cycling Team, and her new book, How to Detect Laws, Fraud, and Identity Theft, is hot off the press. I could go on and on about Traci, but I will say, if you want to know even more about our delightful guest, check out her website. Traci, welcome to our show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I have enjoyed following you and listening to not only the webinar you did with us at Equiture, but the variety of other public speaking events that can be found on the internet. And I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
I'm thrilled. This is fun. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So let me get right started. I understand that you started your career about 12 years ago after the Colorado Aurora movie theater shooting.
Well, that's when I started doing TV. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you started before that.
Oh, yeah. I've been at this 24 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What is the driving force behind what you do? Like, what makes you do what you do?
Well, I just think that if people pay, like, if I can help people improve their lives, like, that's a really big deal for me. Like to change their lives materially for the rest of their lives, like then I've won. I mean, for me personally, that's a ton of fun, and my values are to make money, have fun, and love what I do. And when I can help folks find the truth, I get to do that. So all of those become fulfilled.
I like that. A lot of people in public safety will start public safety, and during their interview process, they maybe ask, "Why do you want to be a dispatcher? Why do you want to be a police officer?" And so many times in my personal experience of doing interviews, that answer would be, "Well, I just want to make a difference." So I think that's cool. That's what you're doing.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the law enforcement that I've trained with, and the ones that I know that are in my phone, and I'm talking to them, they have big protector energy, and that's one reason that they're drawn to that field of law enforcement. I don't have that, which is why I am not in law enforcement. and I'm in business, right? But in some of the trainings that I've taken, they get so intense that I need to take a break. Like I've gone into some of my instructors and said, I'm struggling. I cannot emotionally handle everything that's going on, and they'll be like, you come back when you're ready, and it'll take half a day, and to where I can just not be in a situation where everything seems wrong. Yeah. And you're looking for everything wrong. I'm a pretty happy person, and I think there's a lot of good in the world out there, but I also think that knowing the truth will help you avoid jumping off into where you're a victim, or where you're not seeing something that you really need to see in order to protect, because as you're called to do.
And I'm sure you've covered some of that in your book. Yes.
No, I've never
No?
told anybody that.
Oh, well, I feel
No one's
honored.
asked me, Sherry.
Oh, well, I haven't read your book, but I really wanted to. I'm raising teenagers and as my second time raising teenagers, and I thought, oh, I could learn so much more reading it and along with watching you. So um, I'm going to do that.
Yes, you should.
Um, so I mentioned in when we first started talking that you had a deal with Kevin Harrington. So he's
Mhm,
one of the sharks from Shark Tanks.
mhm.
Uh, what was the deal?
Well, he was in on season 1 of Shark Tank, so it's not the
Okay.
Kevin that you see right now. And the deal was that he wanted me to remake and reposition some of my content for the home shopping channel, which is women about 25 to 55, and in using my persuasion and influence skills to solve problems that they would have in their daily life. Well, I did, and it cost me a lot of money to do that, to put together a kit, that would look nice on TV. And we sent it in, and they said, "We love this. You've hit the target market perfectly. But we're only working with famous people now, so go out and make yourself famous and call us back in 3 to 5 years." So that was a little bit of the last straw of really, because at that point the lie detection information that I was putting out there was, it was kind of like a neat little closer for my keynotes. Um it wasn't down and dirty. It wasn't my full focus by any stretch. And when that happened, I felt like I'd rode the influence and persuasion horse as far as I could ride it. It was a great horse. It went really fast for a while, and then the horse died. And so I kind of, I was like, my audience really likes this persuasion or this lie detection information. I'm going to just focus on that, and I repositioned myself into that, and it's worked really well. It's worked really well since. Now, when I and this is like a little marketing thing, when I called it more fraud prevention instead of lie detection, same content, and really solving the same problem, but people started paying me 3 times as much, and
Wow.
I started getting booked a lot more. Yeah, so that's why I call myself the fraud busting body language expert, because that's what I do, is help people stop fraud. Remember, because well, I do work on investigations. I just got a call for one this morning. It's not my primary focus. And like stealing money, I can handle. That's good. Killing people, no, can't do on a day-to-day basis. Um, so anyway, yeah, I work with financial institutions primarily to help train their employees to spot and stop fraud losses before they happen.
Wow. That's cool.
Like I said, make money, have fun, love what I do. It fits into that.
So that thing from Shark Tanks, that deal, kind of propelled you into
Mhm.
where you are now.
Oh yeah, it was a heartbreaker when it failed. I mean, I was crushed. I was just crushed. And there's some caveats in it. Like, I'd rather it fail soon than get on TV and fail. Because there's some caveats to how that would really, really negatively affect me, both financially and from a marketing standpoint. So I didn't even have to do that. I didn't have to worry about it. And here I am talking to you.
I'm glad. I wonder if I was thinking of other famous people who were turned down for something that went on to be really great. Queen is one of them. One of their biggest songs. Their producer said, no, no one will ever like it. Um,
Oh, that was what, Bohemian Rhapsody?
yeah,
Probably. Yeah, yeah.
yes. And then I mean, years later, he was like, "Oh, well, that was a mistake." So I wonder if they're feeling like, "Wow, look at her now.
Well,
We
I don't
we
know.
screwed
Probably
up."
not yet. He's worth good. He hasn't missed me, I'm sure.
Oh, that's funny. Um, so you have enjoyed the opportunity to study many people. Is
Mhm.
there a particular type of event or person that you really enjoy?
Um, the to study that I really enjoy. You know what? I like people when I'm gonna have to say, you know what, I don't, because when I read that question, I took it a different way than what you just um, asked it right now. Because I thought you were asking me, is there a particular event that I like to speak at, or people that I like to speak to, as opposed to people I like to study. So or I'll tell you who I don't particularly enjoy. I enjoy studying, but do not like putting my comments out there, and that is with politics, because people think I have some kind of agenda that I don't have, and they read into things that I say in ways that aren't like, or ways that are self-serving to them. But
Right.
I love to get in the middle of big events, and I actually, and one that I didn't take because it was so risky for my career, the implications of the optics of it is, they call me to do some expert witness testimony for the a lot of these guys that did the January 6th riots at the Capitol, and they were
Oh,
trying to help me, or they wanted me to help them get some of these guys off. And I just was like, I could do it, and I'm all for truth, like I really am, if truth is gonna be helpful. But I think it would have followed me around too much, in politically, like people would think that they knew what I thought politically, and I would either get gigs or not get gigs based on that, because a lot of the selection, and when I say gig, I mean speaking at conferences.
right.
A lot of the selections that I'm involved with are committees, and they just say no, and you'd never know why. It was probably because that New York Times article that came out, that's on that won't go away. So I wasn't. I didn't take that, just to head off trouble at the pass.
I can I can see that. That might
Mhm.
be a little uncomfortable.
Well,
I'm
it's
being
plenty comfortable
gentle,
for
but
me to say the truth, right? But what happens is people project their ideas on and their beliefs onto what whatever I would have said, and that's too big of a risk for my career.
right.
In a situation that was just so charged,
Right.
um, that people fail to start to see, or people fail to be able to see clearly, um, past their own beliefs. Either way, both sides.
Yep, I can see that.
Mhm.
Um, so, well, let me ask the question. What kind of opportunities do you like to speak at?
Oh, I like to speak at, well, I always say, people ask me that. I'm like, well, the ones where people want me there, right? So, well, because not every conference is for me, right? And I'm not going to be a fit for every group. So that's a big factor. Typically these days, the ones I really like are financial groups. I like credit union groups. They're upbeat. They're positive about the future. And they also know that they have some stuff to learn. So if I look out and I see, I'm going to adjust my camera here. Hang on. So if I look out and I see uh, uh, where it's all gray hair guys, I know that they're not gonna, like, because they're all, they've been around forever, and they also can tend to think as a group that they can't learn anything, and so tends to be a group that I don't enjoy as much.
I I can understand that.
Yeah, but yeah, financial, insurance, sales groups. I love life insurance guys. They're just, because they're out there, and they want to learn more, and they're ready to do what it takes to succeed. So, um, those are the groups that I like the most. Sales teams tend to be pretty spunky, so um, those are pretty great. I worked with the I'm not going to say what state, but tax assessors group,
Oh,
and man, they just hung me out to dry. I was like, come on, help me out, like,
wow.
let's go. Yeah, so they lived up to their reputation.
Did they just why did they just not like what you were saying,
They
or
wouldn't laugh at any of the jokes. Like in some groups, like being emotional and like emoting, even that you like anything, is not cool. And I'll tell you, the groups that tend to do that: football coaches, cowboys, and oh gosh, there's a third group that cowboys, football coaches. Yeah, those are the. I know there's another one, but they just don't emote, right? Because it's not cool to laugh and be like engaged, right? Because they're tough, right? So
That's
you learn.
yeah. I've sat not to go religious here, but I've sat and listened to our pastor, and he'll tell a joke and he gets this. And he says, "Oh, well, I thought that was funny, but clearly you didn't, so we'll
Uh-huh.
move on."
Yeah, or well, there's ways past it, right? Like, oh, my mom thought that was funny, like things like that, and then that'll get a laugh. Um, so there's ways, around it that I've learned. But then some audiences, they're just not going to give you much. And sometimes they'll walk up after, a couple of them, and say, "That was the best presentation I've ever heard." And I'm like, "Were you in the same room I was in?" Like,
Could you have notified your face?
I know. So it's I've been doing this a long time, and every group has some redeeming qualities. I'll tell you, the group that I spoke to a couple last week. I spoke to a credit union group. They were fantastic. I spoke to the Nuclear Employee Concerns Association, and they do nuclear safety and hazard investigations, like that are reported by employees, because it's really important to get that right. They were amazing. They're such great folks and so engaged, really wanted to learn. So you never know when you're going to find people that are just all in. I love them.
I like that. So I don't know if you remember this. Years ago, I think it was Netflix. There was a series called Lie to Me. I don't know the
Lie to
name of
me.
the.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My husband and I watched it faithfully until the series abruptly ended. That's how we felt, that it was abrupt. One of the questions that was asked of the main character, like I said, I don't remember his name, was, is it difficult to talk to people knowing that they are being misleading? And he answered that he just turned it off when it didn't matter. With your training and experience, that must always kind of be on. So, what do you do?
Well, it is, and it's not. So I have three questions, right? So that I ask myself: do I care? Am I being paid? And does it matter? Right? So, um, for instance, so my husband's a rocket scientist. He's super smart, and he's a little bit like Sheldon Cooper uh on Big Bang Theory, right?
Okay.
So a little bit autistic, just a little bit. And he doesn't like that rotisserie chicken that we get at the store, right? Or that you can get at the store. He doesn't like it because he thinks it's too much work for the amount of chicken that you get off the bone. It's too much work, right? So cost benefit analysis is not in the favor of having a lot of rotisserie chicken around the house. Okay. So one night we had been remodeling the house. We didn't have a kitchen. I had like a 1979 electric skillet and a microwave. That was it.
Oh,
And for months, it's a kitchen remodel. That's how it goes.
right.
And he was doing it himself, right? So we had been working and we were tired. We go to the store. I'm like, all right, let's get something hot to eat. Great. So, you walk by that rotisserie chicken stand and it smells so good. And you're like, yes, I want this. And I'm like, Matt, can we just have chicken tonight? And he looks at me and he's like, yeah. And I said, all right, I know you just lied to me. Like, we're in the middle of like Kroger's, right? I'm like, I know you just lied to me. I know you don't want this chicken. I need you to go and I need you to tell me what else you want in this store that's hot that we can eat that is not this chicken. Because other than that, we're having the chicken, right? So he goes and he starts looking around the store. And I got to tell you, Sherry, I've never seen this before and I've never seen it since. Is that they had a turkey breast in one of those same kind of packs like the
Oh,
chicken up on top of the stand. And I said, what about the turkey breast? He's like, yeah, this would be great. So like you can make someone's day better just by knowing when they're lying to you or not, right? It doesn't have to be like a big lie, but it's important. I don't need him coming back around in 5 years. You remember that time and you made me eat that chicken, right? Well, just you don't have to. Right.
That's fun. That's such a good example. I think because, well, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I think if I'm going to detect a lie, it's always going to be bad.
It's not always bad. That's the thing. So deception happens all the time. Silent disagreement happens all the time. It would help if you just knew what people weren't saying, like what's unspoken, right? And then you can start to speak to that and they're going to love you, right? They're not going to know why, but they're going to love you, right? And that's part of the thing we were talking about with persuasion and influence, right? If people feel like you're really heard and you just have a really deep connection, like you're going to get a lot further, both in information recovery, right? Because I know that we have a lot of law enforcement listening to this, and that's your whole goal is information recovery. Like that, having that connection is invaluable.
Yeah.
So that because people will connect, they'll say more to people that they know and feel connected to. So creating that is the number one thing, especially because in this business, in law enforcement, like you're working with people on some of the worst days of their lives, like for
Yeah.
like just bottom line, right? And like things have gone wrong if you're deep into any kind of investigation, any kind of interview, and creating that connection to make them feel like they have an ally in the whole thing, even though you still got to uphold the law. You're going to find out a lot more quickly, so that the right thing's done.
I really like that. I was thinking, so when people call 911, the common phrase we have is nobody calls 911 on a good day. It's usually, one of the
It's
worst
true.
days of their life. Something really
Mm-hmm.
bad has happened. Uh, is there anything, because we work in a non-visual environment in 911, are there tones that people could listen to, or would it be one of those things where, focus on getting your information and let the officers deal with it when they're face to face?
That's interesting. Now, I've interviewed some 911 operators, and there are some and I teach some of this as well. Like there are some cues that can lead someone to know if they're lying or not, right? And one is, does their emotion match the situation, the gravity of the situation, right? So, um,
Oh,
can you hear me?
I need you to pause for just a second. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Okay. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Okay.
Um, we'll stop the recording and cut that out, but my son is deployed
Oh,
and I haven't been able to talk to him in like 3 weeks.
oh,
And they were just given 5 minutes, 10 minutes to use their phones, and he called me.
oh. Did you talk
So
to him?
I did. I just briefly.
Oh
I just
no.
wanted to hear his voice. He
Oh,
he
can you call him
calls
back?
me.
We can do this later.
No, no, no. It's okay. He calls me like when he's not in the middle of the ocean somewhere.
Uh-huh.
He calls me almost every day on his way home. So I miss him.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and
Oh my
he's going
goodness.
to be deployed somewhere in the middle of the ocean for the next year. So they
Hmm.
got permission to use their phones. So
Oh
I'm
wow.
sorry to interrupt.
I don't know. That's pretty cool. We should keep it in.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, Traci, this month you released your newsletter highlighting O.J. Simpson and Princess Kate.
Yeah.
I love your newsletters, by the way. My daughter, she's going to be 16 this year. She has enjoyed listening to you as well. And your reviews of whatever you're putting in your newsletter is always really fascinating. So my question is, when there is current events that have roused up a lot of public
Mhm.
chatter. Do you turn to your skills and analyze what's being said on your own? Do people reach out to you and ask you? How does that work?
It kind of depends because because there's a few things that may happen. Like I need to keep on top of the news because the media may call me. And some of that makes it into my newsletter. The OJ Simpson one, a media outlet did send me that clip and want some analysis. So they got their analysis, and I just kind of redid it in my newsletter. Um, Princess Kate again, that was another news outlet sent that to me. And what I'm looking for in that is, okay, is it gonna trigger someone? Because like I said, I really don't like to do politics. I'm happy to do that, like to the side if someone wants to know, but I'm not up for being skewered unnecessarily. Um, and but I'm always kind of looking to be like, okay, what's out there? Like how can I learn? And I look at, who are my peers reviewing and things like that, out there online. And so for me, it's more about like just curiosity and always trying to learn and seeing how people are doing things and what they're doing and what they're trying to put out there, what they're trying to get past the public. And so that is fun for me. That is fun. And I'm always curious to see what people are saying and how they're saying it and what it really means.
Right? Um, what are some of your favorite discoveries when you're dealing with current events?
Discoveries. Gosh, I thought the OJ one was pretty interesting. And for those who aren't on my newsletter, for one, you can get on my newsletter, but you just got to email me and I'll put it on there. And I guess it's Traci, TRACI at tracibrown.com. The OJ one was pretty interesting because he was not forthcoming and completely honest about his health condition. And he did it at the Super Bowl, and then it was just the other day he died from prostate cancer. And in one of his voice patterns, he's like, "My health is good. Well, I have some challenges, but my health is good." Right? So he contradicted himself right there. And so that's not something that you're going to see from someone who actually has good health, right? And I always appreciate being optimistic, right? But there was signs there, right, that he's given away that something's really not right. Now, Princess Kate was really interesting because she had a cancer diagnosis lately, and the royals are famous for you really don't know what they think, or they don't say a whole lot. And there was all these like the noise was really loud, like on TikTok, because I was kind of keeping track of it about where is Princess Kate and uh what's going on, is she dead, like the so many things, right, that were
Right?
going on, and the noise got really loud. And so I think she felt, or the PR people felt, like she really needed to make a statement, like show proof of life. Okay. And it was the weirdest video I've ever seen because half of her face was stuck and one half was stuck in anger. So the forehead is the billboard, the eyebrows and the wrinkles on the forehead are the writing on the billboard. We have almost no control, really, I'm going to say no control over our forehead. And that is the
Wow.
same. We actually have more control over our feet, right? But our forehead, we just don't have control over. And half of it was stuck, like half of it was anger, right? And we see that because one of her eyebrows is pointed straight down towards the bridge of her nose, right? That's anger. Now, the other eyebrow showed peace, right? Which was just kind of a neutral position. Now, the thing about it is that that shows an internal conflict, okay? And you'll see that frequently with someone who's happy about, maybe in this case, so let's use a law enforcement example, right?
Okay.
So they're happy about that, like they pulled something off, whatever it is, a bank robbery. Let's just say a bank robbery, okay? But then they're angry they got caught. right? so that's a conflict, right? So it is totally possible that you could see one side of the face having like peace or happiness, and the other side of the face having anger. Okay. But Kate's was stuck in anger. Like I have never seen, and people are like, oh, Botox. No, this is way past. If this is Botox, it is the absolute worst overdone job of Botox that I've ever seen, because Botox still lets you move a little bit, right? And the more it wears off, the more you can move, but you tend to lose the independence of your eyebrows. And they'll kind of move together, right? And so to see her stuck like that was fascinating. And I've even heard some like military interrogators, and they're like, whoa, like what is going on with that? So I don't believe necessarily that it was AI generated, although those are getting better all the time. So that's one that's stumped me, and I always enjoy like ones where I'm like, where it forces me to learn more, right? And so if the experts that I listen to and I'm peers with don't know, then that's like, whoa, like something serious is going on there. Right? Um so those are just two like recent ones that come to mind. I'm always a sucker for some Lance Armstrong analysis. I used to race bikes with that guy growing up. His dad is my sales manager, and so Lance tends to be a textbook liar, um and a narcissist. So he's always one to watch and have a little fun with. And to his credit, he has managed to get a big portion of the population to forgive him, and he's still kind of relevant and making himself putting himself out there and being a star. So yeah, that's always a fun one too.
That's interesting. You have a different perspective of Lance Armstrong because of your personal knowledge. I've listened to you talk about, in fact, I think I watched one of your um, analysis of his interview when
Mm-hmm.
he said no, 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 and then he said yes. Uh,
Oh yeah, because he flipped his story, right? Everybody knows
right.
that. Yeah. So
Um, so that's interesting. Uh, do parents ever contact you, send you a video, say, "Can you tell me if my child is lying?" Do you
um
ever get that?
no, not because I'll tell parents a clue or two, and they'll be like, "Oh, my kid does that all the time," right? And parents know if their kid's lying. I get asked to do kid interviews, and it happens frequently. Is in a divorce case where, because what's going on now is lawyers ask the wife comes in, husband comes in, different lawyers, and they both want full custody, and the lawyers go, hey, here's how you get full custody: is you accuse the other one of sexual abuse on the kid. And when you're stressed out, you're getting divorced, you have a kid, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, that sounds great, right? And I mean, it's not
That's
my
awful.
favorite way to do, but this happened. Listen, over and over and over again. That's what the call is when I get called. And they go, can you look at video of the kid? And I go, well, yeah, but I'm not a child forensic person. Like that's really, really not, because little kids are really good liars. They're really good. Little kids and people of low socioeconomic status are very good liars. So like CEOs and these people that we um hold in high esteem, really bad liars, like consistently. I see it all the time. Okay, but what what happens is that they go, oh, we want you to look at this video of the kid. And I'm like, I don't want to see a video of the kid. I'm not going to be able to tell anything from it. I want to see a video of the parents. Well, we don't have video of the parents. Well, go get some video of the parents and send it in. And that's where we're really going to be able to tell the truth and tell what's going on. So, because this is what happens, and this has happened time and time again as well, is okay, so the parents have split custody. They're not quite divorced yet. And the parents have a weekend with the kid, and they decide they're going to sit down and interview the kid about what's been going on. And they call me and they tell me they're going to do this. And I'm like, don't do that, because it's not going to be binding in court. It's not going to be allowable in court. You're going to waste your time with your kid that you could be having a nice weekend with your kid. And so here it is, Monday, here comes the video. And I'm like, I told you not to do that. I told you not to do that. And the last one I got, I don't know if it was the last one. It might have been the second to last one. The most memorable that I got was this. So the kid is rolling around on the floor because he's a small kid, right?
Oh,
He's
okay.
wearing a Batman suit and he's watching Batman on TV. And this is when the mom thinks, oh, this is a perfect time to interview the kid. and so, and so they interview the kid and they're like, where did daddy touch you? And he points, to his pants and he says, daddy touched my private parts. Okay. So, but the kid has a pacifier in. And I'm like, what is it about this? Like, there's something about this. So, because I'm always learning and I don't know everything, I call up a teacher of mine, and he's retired FBI, and he's he teaches these classes, and I'm like, and he's a good friend, and I said, what is it with this? I'm missing something. And he goes, oh, here's what it is. He goes, the kid is using terminology outside of his vocabulary level. He has a pacifier and he's saying private parts. And he goes, that is coaching. Right. So so it's little things like that, right? And that's the thing, I guess, in this job. I have to be, when I don't know, I have to say I don't know. And it's okay to not know, because the effects of what I say can have repercussions that are very long lasting, right? So anyway, that's just like one example of some of the things that come across my desk. I got a call for an investigation today, and we'll see what happens when they send over this video. I mean, I get crazy people calling. I get sane people calling who have legitimately been wronged, and so I want to make sure, like, truth is super important to me. It's super important, unbiased truth.
That's a good thing to be biased over.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, what are your biases? Oh, well, I'm biased to truth. I've never had
Well,
anybody say that before, but I like it.
yeah. Well, we have a lot of biases. Like, there's a big number of them that are just built in to us. One is a truth bias, and that is that we are wired to assume people are telling us the truth, right? And which is a dangerous thing, right? Because it's essentially, we're walking around with our guard down, right, all the time, and it takes us, like, taking time to pay attention differently, so that we can find the truth, so we can inform the most important decisions of our lives. Because in law enforcement, you do want to make the right decision, but it's especially, like, at home, where it affects you personally. You really want to make sure you're doing the right thing, because you're operating with all the information that's available to you.
Right. So you've talked a little bit about, I mean, just now you were mentioning that it's really important that we know what we're doing, so that, because people's lives are on the line, their
Mhm.
career, their reputation.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered if there'll be retaliation from those who you've been able to call out for being
Oh,
deceptive?
oh boy. Okay, so was it last summer? It must have been last summer. I got a call from this guy who had this show on Roku, right? It's some kind of he's a private investigator, and this family had called him, the family of Dylan Rounds, which is a very popular case in the true crime world. Basically, this Mormon kid got, the long and short of it. I'll tell you the long and short of it. Mormon kid got kicked out of his family and sent to try to farm on the South Idaho desert, which is almost impossible to farm, because he came out as gay. Okay. And so that's what happened. And then he turned up missing. The mom went on TV. Okay, so all that's information from the private investigator, right? The official story is, oh, he got this family farm and moved down there, right? Really, he was kicked out because he was gay. Okay, so and now he's missing. So the mom goes on some local Southeast Idaho TV show, right? Which there's not a lot of people in Southeast Idaho; it's like pretty small. And but when the investigator came up with that information, she fired him. Okay, because she didn't want that information out there. And so she goes on TV to say they don't know what happened to their son, and he would never wander off, and he was such a good kid, and all these things. And it was lie after lie after lie after lie. You could see it. And so I get on this guy's show, and that's what I say, right? And of course we go into the analysis. So he calls me a week later. He's like, "Have you got any death threats or anything?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, we have." And I'm like, "Oh, super. That's
Wow.
great." Right? Because sometimes the truth, for certain parts of certain religions, the truth is just not is the most shame that you could ever have, right? A truth like that. And anyway, so no one's ever like personally, I've never really worried about repercussions, like to a great degree, besides just some trolls on Facebook and things like that. But no one's, knock on wood, haven't had any trouble than that. But I will tell you one repercussion that happened. Because if you've been on my newsletter, do you remember when I did the thing about how I got kicked off TikTok? Do you remember
No,
that? Oh, okay.
no.
Well, Prince Harry kicked me off, has someone on the inside at TikTok, and kicked me off TikTok. So I guess that's a repercussion, because about a year and a half ago, he did all the interviews and the book and everything, and there was deception all through there, right?
Right. You talked
And,
about it.
yeah, I talked about it. Well, I got on TikTok because people were like, "You got to get on TikTok." I'm like, "I don't want to." They're like, "You have to." I'm like, "Fine." So I did this little video about where Prince Harry was not being 100% truthful on, I don't know, one thing or another, because there were several points where that happened through all the interviews and the documentary and things like that. So I did this little quick video, and all of a sudden it had all these views on it, and it got up to like 600,000 views. I'm like, I should probably do another one. So I did 6 or 8 of them. And I had 1.5 million views in 2 weeks, Sherry. And
Wow.
a bunch of followers and stuff. And now I had a bunch of haters on there. Now I never said Prince Harry and Meghan are lying, so you should hate them. I never said that. I said,
Right.
hey, let's learn about deception, right? Here's an example, right? But remember what I said earlier about people projecting their thoughts, and they think that they know what I think, and all that was happening. A lot of haters. I hired my mom to read all the comments and see if there's anything that I needed to respond to.
I'll bet that was hard on her.
Well,
That's hard
yeah.
on moms.
Well, my mom's pretty cool, and she's like,
Okay.
"Yeah, I'll tell you if you need to respond." She's like, "These people they don't have anything else to do except be trolls, right?" Okay, so, which is fine. Like if you look at most of them, they're not brave enough to put out a video themselves, right? So that's a whole other Oprah. Okay, but I woke up one morning 2 weeks later, and I had other videos on there. I did, because I was starting to get the hang of how to make them. They my whole channel was gone. They didn't take just the Prince Harry. They took everything, the whole thing. And we did a search that day. There was no information on Prince Harry on TikTok on that day. He had all of it scrubbed. All of it scrubbed. It was February 3rd last year. And that is called managing the story. Right.
Right.
Managing perceptions. That's what he's done. So I guess that's sort of a repercussion. Now I'm back on TikTok, and I have other videos on there from podcasts and things that I've done. and I put one Prince Harry one back on there because I had downloaded some of them. And that's another lesson. If you're a TikToker, like make sure you download your videos so you have them on your phone, because I didn't, except for like one or two. And it's still up there. But TikTok has me throttled. And they won't give any of my videos more than a couple hundred views. So I went from
Wow.
videos of like 600,000 to like pretty much nothing.
Wow.
So not everyone appreciates the truth, right? And it's not about
Yeah.
coming after people, because that's not me. That's not what I do. But I am going to say, hey, look, hey, here's a sign of deception. Like let's learn so you can use this. And oh, it might be someone that you know. No, that just makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Meghan and Harry are, you know, big news. I mean, they live here in the United States, so
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people obsessed
Well,
with
they are,
them.
and with them, I actually like them, and in spite of yeah, there's deception here and there, as is anyone in the news. They're not going to get on the news and tell you everything, or get on their any show and tell you everything. That they're not going to do that. That's dumb. And I think they're in a completely unworkable situation with the attention that they get, like from the media. Every time you walk out, like there's media everywhere, people trying to take your picture and things like that. And when your whole job is just to manage your image, like really, that's their whole job.
Yeah.
Um, it's really hard, and the media is not favorable on them. And I know this. Here's how I know this: is because the media gets a hold of me, and they're like, "Hey, we got a picture of the royals. Here's the headline. Can you fill it in?" And the
Oh,
headline has nothing to do. They've already written it. They don't care what I have to say. They don't care at all. And so what I started doing was just writing the truth in there, which was, positive and for them. And the headline is just clickbait. That's all they do. So it's the media is predetermined negative on them. And that's disappointing. It really is.
yeah. That's kind of switched from when they first moved to the United States. The media wasn't so negative on them. It's I've watched. They definitely seem to have shifted.
Yeah, and it's I think the British media is a lot harder on them because I do, interviews internationally, so they're much more negative than the ones out of the States.
Hmm.
But then people get a funny feeling, especially about Megan, and it would be a lot easier if she just would stick to 100% truth um in what she's doing, because people get a funny feeling about her, and that's why, because you can kind of tell. um it's like, wait, something's not quite right here. So, everyone has their own thing and their own reasons to do what they do, and it is a very tough situation for them.
Yeah. Well, so you've had this amazing career, started as a professional athlete, and now here you are. What if someone was interested in doing what you do? How do you even begin?
Well, you got to get trained, and even now, I'm always looking for new ways to learn things. I am a hypnotist. I'm an NLP master practitioner, and I've studied Hawaiian Huna with kahunas in Hawaii, and that was a really 8 years of really intensive study. So,
I
it's
don't
not
know what
about.
that is.
Oh, Hawaiian Huna is
Yeah.
it's energy healing, basically,
Okay.
is what it is. So the best thing to do, I would start out with a good hypnosis class, because okay, so let's talk about this. I am a body language expert. I am. But more than that, I'm a human behavior expert. And so the body language is sexy, right? And it'll get me on stages. And it's something easy and quick for people to learn if you decide to pay attention. Um the Beyond that, and also, I saw clients for 8 years, and I'll still see a client every so often when they call. uh so I have a pretty good idea of how behavior gets created, and that's really what's most important. It's not lie detection is not the most important thing. It's about a curiosity about how behavior gets created. And then if you can do that, if you can get yourself to that part, then lie detection becomes like, oh, just another thing that you look for, right? But the patterns remain the same with folks, and so I can generally kind of tell how people are going to behave if I know just a little bit about them. I'll be able to pick out certain patterns and expect a certain response from them. So to do that, I would take all the hypnosis you can, like Milton Erickson. NLP is great, and because that's just been my path. But a lot of these law enforcement classes that I take are open to, you can take them. Right? They don't advertise them outside of the industry, right? But
Right.
you can find them and jump in there. Like, they don't want looky-loos in there, right? They're just like true crime junkies. Like, I don't think your attendance would be appreciated. but and there's a ton of good people online that you can follow. Like, you can follow me. The behavior panel is fantastic. I know those guys. I was just talking to them on Friday. And they're all military interrogators, and man, they not all, but most of them are. And then Spidey's really good online. So it's important that you learn from people that are reputable, because there's a lot of people who claim to be body language experts who actually just really have an agenda out there, and those folks are not. I wouldn't recommend them.
Okay. That's
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah. So it's a lot of study. It's a lot of paying attention. Is what it is, and really, there's never a time that you can't practice, right? Unless you're just sitting at home alone all the time in your basement. Like, there's always people around that you can watch, right? Watch more
Right.
closely. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if someone thought, hey, I want to do that, they'd have to have a desire first to really study people, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's more, yeah, it's just that curiosity, right? And there's always that question: are men better than this at women than women, or women better than men? Women tend to be more curious, but like I said, men have a lot of that protector energy, and most of the people who get interviewed in a police situation are men. I say the majority, and so anyway, a lot of times having that masculine presence in there is can be very, very beneficial, and especially the ones that are super highly trained. I mean, they'll pick anything out, and at that point, I think at the highest levels, it doesn't matter if you're man or woman or whatever. But here's what's interesting is that the true crime demographic, right? Because true crime is really, really big. That's mostly women, right? It's women age like about 36, right? 36 to like 55-ish.
Wow.
That's who's most curious about this.
Huh. Interesting. It gives me a lot of things to think about.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the goal. You
Yeah.
didn't interview me to tell you a bunch of stuff you already know.
Well, true. True. Oh, all right. So I have one last question for you.
Right.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, I'll tell you. My plans include a lot of keynote speaking and a lot of TV. So, here's what I got for coming up. This is really cool. Is I have because TV is expensive and filming is expensive to do it right. I have a promo video coming out, right? I have a certain kind of promo video, a certain set of them that are Hollywood level productions
Okay.
but I had to make them pay back, right? So it's a promo video for my keynote speaking, but it's an epic thriller. And so I have a new one coming out on June 5th. It's on an online premiere. June 5th, 6 p.m. Mountain is when it'll be, so you can figure out your time zone. And I can get anyone listening who wants to get in touch, I can get them a login for it and all the details, so you can join us for the fun. And I guarantee you will want me to do another one. after after this. So that's what I got. I have a little trailer posted right now, and yeah, it's super fun, and I hope to be able to move to more TV as a result of my work in video. Yeah.
I saw that somewhere.
Mhm.
I saw you had that advertised, so I don't remember where I was
It's
when
at
I
the
saw it.
bottom of
So,
my last newsletter. If you still have it, go
oh,
down and
yep.
you can see the trailer there. I want you to watch it.
Okay. I did
30
not watch
seconds.
the trailer.
It's
I
just 30
will.
seconds. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Tracy, I'm so grateful that you've been with us today.
Oh, this is a fun
Um,
talk. It's a little different than normal. I really enjoyed it.
Good, good. For our viewers, be sure to learn more about Tracy at the Body Language Trainer. You can
Yep.
get a free report on detecting lies there. Join up with her. I would really encourage our viewers to join on her newsletter. They are fun. And also, you can get the latest copy of her book, How to Detect Lies, Fraud, and Identity Theft on Amazon. And Tracy, again, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thanks for having me. You're fantastic.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.